A coalition of local animal welfare groups, All About the Animals, Davies Voice, Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation and Eastwood Ranch Foundation are standing together today with the backing of over 3,000 members of the public who signed our petition to inform you of our dire concerns regarding the changes recently enacted to the County Code on Animals. A primary concern is the addition of wording which means that the Department of Animal Care and Control can now order the killing of a stray animal in less than 6 days for reasons other than that the animal is irremediably suffering. This is simply backwards, and we believe that the board was grossly misled by the department about the changes that were put forward. We also wanted to inform you that on November 19th of last year, upon visiting all 7 of the county's shelters, we found a need for hundreds of beds and blankets for the animals, where these were missing or broken, worn or torn, as shown in these images. As examples. One of the worst examples was Downey Shelter, where just 7 of the 120 kennels we observed had beds and 6 had blankets, and the rest lay on nothing but a cold, hard floor. Our coalition of animal welfare groups has since purchased beds and blankets for 4 of the shelters, but it begs the question, what has the department been spending the $4 million in extra budget that the board so generously allocated to them in the 2015-16 fiscal year on? The same year that the department failed to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars allocated to them for the projects deemed short-term solutions to address critical unmet needs, such as enclosing the euthanasia room at Carson Shelter, which is pictured, which is still not completed to this day. Yet Marsha Mader, department director, and I quote her words from an interview on KFI radio, stated on the topic of previous complaints of poor conditions in her shelters, the real cause is the funding problem. The Board of Supervisors are challenged with very strong competing priorities county-wide, and there's not that much county general funds to go around. In conclusion, we are concerned that the great intent of the board to improve the shelter network is not being carried out effectively, and an independent audit of the department is badly needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Marsha Mader claimed to the Board of Supervisors in September 2016 that her department's changes to the Code on Animals, in her own words, expand procedures to reunite lost pets with their owners. In actuality, this could not be further from the truth. An example of a current procedure that we believe is deeply flawed is reuniting lost pets with their owners, and should have been addressed as part of the Code of Changes, is the microchip scanning procedure. As per the department's policy, when a stray pet is impounded and found to have a chip, animal control officers will first check the chip details against their internal database, Chameleon is the name of their database, and if there's an address in this internal database, then they will contact the recorded owner at the address. And only if there is no information on Chameleon, then the policy is to call microchip companies. However, there is no verification as to whether the address in Chameleon is up to date or accurate. So the expectation, which is greatly unrealistic, is that after adopting an animal from LA County Shelter, the owner will keep the department up to date with address changes. But the reality is, as per common practice, I being one of them, owners will update the chip company and not animal control. If the department wanted to maximize their effort in reuniting lost pets with their owners, then they should, in all circumstances, call the chip companies, Avid, Home Again, several others, and cross-check with their internal records. Think how many opportunities to reunite these lost pets with their owners have been missed because this vital step was not taken. Think how many lives have been lost and to continue to be lost unnecessarily. We must see a change in procedures to ensure that every pet receives the greatest chance to be reunited with their owner, the greatest chance of survival. As the Executive Director of Animal Hope and Wellness Foundation, we know the importance of microchipping, which is why we are actually undertaking a program to chip dogs in mainland China who are at risk of being stolen and sold into the dog meat trade. So we think we need to get the microchipping right here in our own backyard first.
We thank you for your testimony. And we'll proceed with the balance of the speakers. Ma'am?
The changes to the Animal Code effected in September 2016 certainly expand procedures, but in the example I am going to talk about, the expansion applies to the pockets of the Department of Animal Care and Control and not to the procedures reuniting lost pets with their owners. The fees, which are suspiciously difficult to find on the DACC website, can potentially stack up to hundreds of dollars very quickly, and we are not aware of any cap on that. If the department truly cared about returning lost animals to their homes, they would at the very least allow people to pay fees in installments, much like courts do. That way an animal goes home without further delay and does not have to be surrendered by an owner who cannot pay the full payment immediately. We have an example of a devastating case whereby, in part, the high fees prevented a beautiful white 8-year-old pit bull named Kano, and from being reunited with his family. On July 18, 2015, Kano entered LA County's Downey shelter. His owners found Kano on the shelter website and called to alert the shelter that the dog belonged to them. The wife went to the shelter on July 25th, understanding Kano would be released to her for the $84 that the shelter quoted by phone. Shockingly, she was informed that Kano's release fee had increased to $360. Her husband called the shelter on July 28th at 6:35 p.m. to inform them that he would be there to pick up his dog the next day with the $360 and begged that they would not kill him in the meantime. Tragically, Kano was killed at 7:06 p.m. on July 28th.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. We'll take the next speaker. All right. I'll make sure she has the microphone.
Not only is the excessive noise code not fair, it is unconstitutional and has absolutely no regard for due process rights of dog owners. It does not offer any way for the animal owner to challenge it. I am here to talk about this code as I am a dog owner and a 78-year-old widow on a limited budget. The code defines excessive noise as a noise that is unreasonably annoying, disturbing, offensive, or which unreasonably interferes with the comfortable enjoyment of life and property. Who determines that? Someone can randomly make a complaint, whether valid or not, left up to the DACC's office's discretion. That could potentially result in someone having to lose their dogs or move. Neither is an option for me. The code also has an unfair and unreasonable penalty schedule. If whatever noise isn't reduced within 10 days from the initial violation, the owner gets a ticket for $100. The third violation is a fine of up to $200. Any further violations up to a year could cost the dog owner up to $500 each time. The scheme doesn't even recognize any actual proof. This essentially has made it very easy for someone who doesn't like a dog owner to weaponize the law, causing significant harm. How does this help anyone? Who is losing? Dogs are their owners. Who is winning? Possibly a person out of vengeance and the DACC's latest money-making machine.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We'll take the next speaker now.
Nicole Goodfellow, 5th District. The amendments of Title X may have streamlined the procedures for the Department of Animal Control, but should record keeping, which is the core of the entire operation, be subject to streamlining? There are other provisions in the county code that are also addressed in state laws, but they were not removed during this update. Section 10.36.080, impounded animals record-keeping requirements, has been deleted entirely. The department explanation is this requirement is covered under the California Food and Agricultural Code, Section 32003. However, the county required collection of information that the state did not require. This change has eliminated record-keeping requirements for the department, which reduces transparency and accountability. The laws are not interchangeable and should not be treated as such. The revision of Title X was a missed opportunity to review regulations that permit commercial breeding in the county. Given the fact that tens of thousands of unwanted pets are destroyed annually while in the care of the department, one way to improve the lives of animals would be to closely regulate breeding. The last thing LA County needs is commercial dog breeding facilities. There would have also been an opportunity to strengthen procedures related to the follow-up on the pets released by the department to the public unaltered, usually young or medical cases. The loss of the $50 trust deposit and a form letter reminder is not strong enough to compel people to actually spay and neuter their pets. This contributes to the cycle of unwanted pets dumped into the county shelters. Strengthening spay and neuter regulations should be a priority as a way to improve the lives of animals. Instead of making conditions better for the pets and people of LA County, the changes to Title X have only served the interest of the department.
Thank you. Final speaker, please.
Wait, before you start, excuse me, ma'am. I'd like to call the balance of the speakers up that signed up to speak on consent items that have not been held by supervisors. David Weiner, Jennifer Hing, Lejla Hadzimuratove, Ernest Urzula, Martha Matthews signed up to speak on 41A. Please come forward when I call your names. Tamara Sanders and Jessica Valle signed up to speak on number 5. Dr. Genevieve Claverell signed up to speak on agenda item 15, 16, 18, 20, 41A. Please come forward. Eric Previn signed up to speak on items 1D, 6, 7, 13, 15, 16, 26, 27, 31, 41A, 44, and CS4. Mr. John Walsh signed up to speak on agenda item 44, and Mr. Arnold Sack signed up to speak on every item on your agenda. Please come forward.
Please proceed, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Glassnap. I'm going to read some comments from our petition signed by over 3,000 members of the public who are unhappy with the changes the county code has made for the animals and wish for them to be re-reviewed. Gail Draves, residing in Sun Valley, questioned, shouldn't every government agency have a fiduciary responsibility to the public to maintain complete records? How would the supervisors like it if the bank holding their money decided the bank didn't have an obligation to maintain records completely? It seems like the board is protecting sloppiness by the development of animal care. Jay Ardelin from Los Angeles maintained, this department needs more transparency, not less. There needs to be better microchip search procedure. Mary Ann Lagana, a Los Angeles County resident, voiced her opinion. Typical county disregard for the animal welfare with no responsibility to maintain records. Why would an animal shelter that is supposed to be a champion of the animals in their care want to remove any protection from killing? Al Chu from Los Angeles feels, as a pet owner, I would be devastated if my loved one was lost and there wasn't ample time to search and find them. I think we can all agree there. Jill Barone, based in Los Angeles, argued, the situation in Los Angeles kill shelters is bad enough. We cannot make things worse. These animals need a chance. Kathy Banks of Santa Clarita exclaimed, Marcia Mader must explain her deception. I speak for all the euthanized animals that LA County is turning their backs on. Patricia Poole, a resident of Glendale, explained, this was done in a sneaky way, and this Marcia Mader, director of LA County Animal Care and Control, should be fired immediately. She definitely has no love for the animals. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll proceed to the next persons who wish to be heard. Ma'am, you may proceed.
My name is Leila Hajmaratovich. I'm here to speak on behalf of Bunny World Foundation. We are a group of bunny lovers who basically fight animal cruelty, do a lot of rescue and education to basically help bunnies get to the same status as cats and dogs. We have noticed that there are lots of changes in Title X, and mainly the items that I wanted to bring to attention are the items 1040-020 and then 1040-030. These were ordinances that we fought really, really hard with. LAPD, LA Animal Services, we were on the news consistently for 5 years. NBC News has done an investigative report and got an Emmy Award for fighting illegal animal sales downtown Los Angeles. This is in contradiction with SB 917, Senate bill that was introduced by Ted Lieu. We demand that these ordinances be brought back. They were just simply erased by Marcia Mader. There's no sense that kids should color chicks and ducklings and bunnies and sell them downtown Los Angeles under 2 months of age. That's animal cruelty and should be definitely looked at and reversed and included in the code. But I would also ask supervisors perhaps to begin conversation with the LA Animal Commissioners, because we have worked really hard to progress in the city of LA to introduce new laws that will protect rabbits and bring them to the same level as cats and dogs. And number one success would be to stop the retail stores from selling cats, dogs, and rabbits. There's no need, absolutely no need to encourage breeding. 1,200 cats and dogs are being put down every day in California. We're spending $250,000 annually in California to basically rescue, keep, and kill these animals. So please, let's go with progress and let's have LA County be on the same page as LA City. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take the next speaker, please.
David Weiner, I'm a senior volunteer with Bunny World Foundation. I'd also like to speak to the removal from Title 10, Section 4020 and Section 4030. This ordinance was removed from Title 10 a few months ago, and it's a basically simple protection against animal cruelty and against breeding. It deals not only with sales of unweaned rabbits under 3 months old, also with dyeing them. We see this with Easter just around the corner. We see this problem every year at Easter time. People think they can dye bunnies different colors for Easter. Bunnies are blinded. A lot of times they're poisoned because they ruin themselves and the dye gets on them. So these are simple protections against animal cruelty. And I don't know why they were removed. Perhaps we can look into it. If they were removed for the benefit of the rabbit breeding industry, I would hope that's not the case. It's a morally dubious and niche industry at best. If the sections were removed because they're duplicative with state law, I think that's also a mistake. The county should be on the record with its own law against this. Should have the power to enforce it, and certainly should be in line with what Los Angeles City is doing. We've seen some marvelous progress the last few years with some of the laws that the state law, the Senate law that Layla mentioned, SB 917, and also the city laws prohibiting street-side sales of animals. We're seeing, over the last few years, we've seen a tremendous reduction in the amount of euthanized pets, bunnies, at the shelter, and it's because of laws like this that are really making a difference. If the county could synchronize with the city and have the state laws on the books, that would be fantastic. And certainly keep us on the front line of animal rights.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Jennifer Chung, and I'm a volunteer at Bunny World Foundation. I mentor vet new adopters and foster shelter bunnies and represent the foundation at various events. I'm here to address the deletion of the ordinances 104020 and 104030 as well, to present more of an emotional appeal regarding the protections for rabbits countywide amongst other animals that are routinely neglected and abused. Prior to volunteering at Bunny World, I had zero knowledge of rabbit care. I assumed you just kept them outside and fed them carrots all day. Unfortunately, this is the assumption of the majority, and every day it causes constant and consistent death. I personally own a bunny that was sold on Santee Alley illegally. My dad bought a bunny for my little brother during Easter time, as many parents do. He was completely uneducated on proper care, but was able to purchase a 3-week-old unweaned bunny for $10 a pop. He fed him peanuts and popcorn and nearly killed the thing until I had to take him away and get him proper care. This will happen every day, every hour, unless proper legislation is put forward. This type of mistreatment affects dogs and cats as well, and they have been considered domesticated companion animals since thousands of years ago. Rabbits are absolutely no different from dogs or cats in terms of temperament, playfulness, lifespan, and love. Imagine how much mistreatment they're succumbed to by the general public, who unfortunately are typically misinformed. It's not a rabbit's fault that it's essentially seen as a non-sentient stuffed animal, so I'd like to reiterate my concerns in adding back in the meager amount of protections for these very intelligent creatures that we fought so hard to implement in the first place. Thank you.
We thank you. We'll take the next speaker.
Yes, good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. Dr. Geneviève Labrol.